All right, guys, next up, we're just going to look at a few different simple concepts and understand why Bitcoin runs price action as a whole. Bitcoin works a little bit different than the stock market. Now, when you look at, the market sentiment of everything in the entire crypto industry, all you have to do is look at what Bitcoin's doing. Bitcoin runs everything. If Bitcoin's going up, then the market sentiment and the likelihood of other altcoins and Ethereum going up is much higher. If Bitcoin is eating shit, basically a lot of the other altcoins in the entire market across the board has a much more likely probability of going down, okay? It's just basically an indication of where is the market's current sentiment, right? Should I be buying or should I be selling? Whatever Bitcoin does, everything else is going to follow. So this also happens in the stock market. Like this is the Dow Jones Industrial 30, which is a little bit different because this is just 30 of the largest companies in the US and basically an index of what they're doing. So if you look at the Dow Jones Industrial Index, if things are going up, the probability of all these other smaller companies that you're trying to trade are probably going to go up as well. But if the Dow Jones is doing this and eating shit, then most likely it's probably not a good idea to be buying up a bunch of companies or thinking that a bunch of small companies or small caps are going to go up. So in the stock market, you look at the Dow Jones, and then when you're trading, you're usually trading small cap stocks. It's usually stocks under $5 per share because they're the ones that have the most momentum. When you're trading Bitcoin in crypto, we're trading altcoins, okay? And an altcoin is simply any other coin other than Bitcoin, right? So ETH, Ethereum, which is also the number 2 market cap, can also be potentially essentially considered an altcoin, but ETH relatively fairly closely follows what BTC is doing. There's thousands of other altcoins out there. A lot of them are worth completely, absolutely nothing. Some of them have a lot of cool things going on, of which we'll talk about momentarily. But essentially, when we're looking at what's going on, we want Bitcoin to be going up or have at least some sort of upwards trend. And that's going to give us a lot more confidence that our altcoins could potentially go up after we buy them. If Bitcoin is eating shit, then we should probably be a little bit more cautious about loading up and having a bunch of exposure in altcoins because they're probably going to go down as well. So it's something to know and just something that I have always used in the stock market. If the Dow is bullish, it's probably a much better idea to be buying small cap stocks that are on the verge of blowing up. If Bitcoin's eating shit, it's probably much more likely that, all our coins are going to reverse. Just for an example, we just saw a quick reversal off the top of Bitcoin after we hit 40K. And just in the last, hour or two, we just saw these like big pullbacks on Bitcoin and Ethereum. And what happened? A lot of our altcoins just absolutely ate shit off the top, right? I sold my Kava up here in the 180s and it went all the way back down to where I bought it initially at 142. Same with UNI USD. A lot of things just pulled back. Another one that I'm in, and I'll talk about in a moment, 1 inch. I got in up here and then it just pulled back heavily from 150 all the way down to $1 per coin, all because Bitcoin and Ethereum had a massive pullback off the top. It wasn't even massive. It was a tiny little move, but when Bitcoin starts to pull back, it was just this little move right here, and also this one right here. Both of these positions, when Bitcoin saw these big little selling spikes, all of a sudden everyone freaks out and gets super emotional and starts panic selling in the altcoins, okay? And then everybody starts buying again once Bitcoin starts going back up. When you're looking at what's going on and having a general market sentiment, when you see selling like this on Bitcoin, you're gonna see selling across the board in a lot of the altcoins as well. But when you look at the overall trend, especially like on the weekly chart of Bitcoin, things are extremely bullish, right? So this doesn't mean that it's not a good time to buy altcoins, as the overall bullish trend is very, very bullish. But when you do see these little blips of selling pressure on Bitcoin, you see a lot of selling pressure on altcoins as well. So you need to know that there is a correlation. And if you want to know what the current market sentiment is, just look at what Bitcoin's doing, and everything else is most of the time going to follow through on what's going on there. Next is, what is DeFi? DeFi is kind of like the new hot shiny object, which is what is going on. Decentralized finance is an experimental form of finance that does not rely on central financial intermediaries such as brokerages, exchanges, or banks, and instead utilizes smart contracts on blockchain, the most common being Ethereum. And this is why ETH could potentially be bigger than Bitcoin someday, because DeFi is fucking massive and it's all based off of ETH technology. And we're going to talk about this later. Especially being an American, I can't trade a lot of coins that are on Kraken, but I can trade them by using decentralized exchanges such as 1 inch. Okay, so I just recently bought into I got into SRM, which is also a decentralized exchange, and I also bought into 1 inch, which is a decentralized exchange. So this is 1 inch right now, which I'm actually using to purchase those tokens as well. Okay, and actually just bought into 1 inch. This is the one that I just said ate shit after Bitcoin actually saw that massive dip, or not a massive dip, but Bitcoin just had a little bit of a sell off, and this sold out from 150 down to $1 per share. Okay, so I got it at 149 and I added at 130. And then I was at the gym and saw this and I was like, holy shit. But I actually would have added down here because this is an overblown sell off on 1 inch. I think this could potentially definitely go back up to $2, $3, potentially $4 per share once things kind of settle down and we actually start moving up. Okay, so that's what DeFi is. It's basically taking decentralized tokens that we have already with Bitcoin and going further. You don't need a fucking broker, you don't need an exchange, you don't need a bank to, have tokens in your wallet. You basically just use an Ethereum smart contract. It costs a little bit of money. It's going to cost me $55 to do this latest transaction, but it's a way to get around me not being able to trade some of these tokens because Kraken doesn't allow me because I'm a US citizen. Okay, so DeFi is big. Uniswap is another huge one. I actually have about 3,500 tokens of Uniswap at about $3.50. It just hit $7 the other day. I used to have 6,700 tokens, but I took profits along the way up. If we just look at the Uni chart here, as you can see, I got in here about $3.50, $3.70, and went as high as $7 shortly thereafter. So these are the kind of patterns we're going to look at, and we're just looking for keywords. Where's the money going? How do we become a wolf and identify these patterns before the sheep and come push it up for us? Because I'm selling to the sheep up here who are asking me, Kim, should I buy up here? I'm like, sure. Here's my tokens. I'm going to lock in profit. You take this, you fucking sheep. I got gains and I might buy back those coins later if we dip back down. But anyways, that's just a quick overview of why Bitcoin runs everything, how to look at current market sentiment as a whole by looking at Bitcoin and understanding that if Bitcoin goes up, altcoins are going to go up. If Bitcoin goes down, altcoins are going to go down. And understanding that DeFi is huge, especially if you want to trade coins that we can't on some of our exchanges.